memory of what we've been. One of the great ones was Mary McLeod Bethune, an African-American educator and civil rights leader. Miss Mary McLeod Bethune.
The drums of Africa still beat in my heart, and they will not let me rest until there is not one single Negro, boy or girl, who has not been given the chance to prove his worth. I am a Mary McLeod Bethune. I was born July the 10th, 1875, in Maysville, South Carolina. My parents, Samuel and Patsy McLeod, were both born into slavery, as were many of my siblings. I was the 15th of 17 children, and the first child that was not born into slavery. By the time I was born, my father was able to own his own land. Yet, we were still considered to be poor and to have less of that than that of the white man. Maysville was a country town filled with rice and cotton fields. I remember going into town with my father to sell the cotton we had picked from our own land. And I will never forget the look of disappointment on his face. And I knew that he felt ashamed that the white man had given us for our cotton. But neither one of us could read nor write, so we had to accept the unfairness that the white man gave us for our cotton. My mother watched the dirty laundry of the white man. I would always go with her to deliver the clean, fresh laundry. We would have to go around the back of the house to deliver their laundry. I would be allowed to play with the little white children. One day, a little white girl invited me into her class. What's inside? I picked up a book, and the little white girl shouted at me, "What's that book, Daddy? You know you can't read." And on that day, a seed was planted. I was determined that I would somehow learn how to read and write. Mason did not have a school for black children, but one day, a woman by the name of Evonne came to Maysville to start her school. I would have to walk 5 miles to that school and 5 miles from that school. Some days it would be rainy and cold, but God had given me a vision. It was as if I could still hear that little white girl. Put that book down. You know you can't read. And I would hold my head up high and continue on my journey. I finished that school as one of the top students in that class. I was given a grant to go to Scotia Seminary in Concord, North Carolina. And from there, I went to Moody Bible Institute. I wanted to become a missionary in Africa. But back then, black people were not allowed girls to attend my school. For our desks and for our seats, we use crates from a nearby junkyard. For our pencils, we use sharpened charcoal. And for ink, we used smashed berries. Money was always the least of my worries, for I believed in a living God. Sometimes I would have to sit in the dark before God allowed me to stand in the light. And within just 2 years' time, my school went from 5 little girls to over 200 and 50 students. I did not know it then, but I would become a lifelong educator. Not only was I an educator, but I was also a civil rights leader, a political activist, and advisor to 4 presidents of these United States. I also sat at the desk when the Charter for the United Nations was first drawn up. As a matter of fact, this cane that you see belonged to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and it was given to me by his wife Eleanor. I was always welcome in the White House. And oh yes, I was the recipient of many prestigious awards. And while I am honored to have received those awards, that was not what was most important to me. What was most important to me was that our young black children become educated, for I knew this would be their only possible chance to rise above slavery. I want to say to any children that are here today, listen to your teachers and professors, for there are those who would like to keep you in the fields, keep you in the kitchens, keep you in the mansions,